We just wait for a few more minutes for people to join.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
I think we can start now. Uh, Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Mumbai chapter members. I'm Aparna Khatiwala, VP Certification and Training, and as South Asia WEC representative of Mumbai chapter. I welcome you all today on this knowledge sharing session under PM Forum series. In this series, we share knowledge based on various project managements and domain based knowledge. This is a platform where subject matter experts and project managers from many industries share their experiences. Today's session is about the role of servant leadership in the age of AI, empowering project teams. And the session is taken by Dr. Briju Thangchan. He is a PhD. And this session, the key takeouts will be the define servant leadership and its core principles, apply servant leadership behaviors in project team management, describe the challenges of demonstrating servant leadership behaviors in the age of AI. Because everyone is talking about AI, so we should also update ourselves, keep updating ourselves about AI. And now let me give a brief introduction about Dr. Briju Thangchan. Am I right? Am I pronouncing right, sir?
That's fine. Yes, thank
Yeah.
Achin.
Okay. Dr. Briju earned his PhD in Industrial Technology from Ohio University, US. He is currently serving as Executive Director of EdTech Society and was a visiting faculty at the Interdisciplinary Program in Educational Technology in Indian Institute of Technology, Mumbai. Doctor developed the instructional decisions model, which is also known as IDM, to help educators make their better decision in the learning design process. He is also certified quality matters. So he appears reviewer. As this with this certification, he has designed online and hybrid courses for the School of Nursing at Ohio University. As an adjunct professor, he taught advanced instructional design and technology application in education courses, and and he has also served as president of the International Division of Association of Educational Communication and Technology (AECT). He is a certified trainer in team-based learning, and also completed his higher education teaching certificate from Harvard University. Okay, so just before starting the session, let me give you few this thing. This is a 2-hour session. There will be a short break in between. The QA session will be at the end, and maybe in the mean you can write your questions during the session also in the chat window, and feedback link and PDF code will be shared at the end. So over to you, doctor. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Aparna, for the introduction, and it's my honor and privilege to be with you all as the Mumbai PMI chapter. So, whenever I travel to different universities and train the faculties, especially the professors, then I always say, we are learning together in this journey. So I'll be learning from you as well during this session. Great. So let me share the screen real quick. Okay, hope the screen is visible now. Great. So wonderful. Thank you for the thumbs up. And so today's we will be talking about the servant leadership and a disclaimer. This the opinion statements that I'm sharing. It's my own personal way. It does not represent the official stance or position or the endorsement of EdTech Society. So let's move on to the so just a few slides about EdTech Society. Um, so it's a professional non-profit organization. So the main motto is to bring together education, technology, and community. Many times there are researchers, educational technology researchers, and then there are practitioners, right? So many times our teachers, higher education faculties, they don't have enough um, training or professional development or a forum to present their challenges. So that's one of the reason we have started this non-profit organization. So you can learn more about EdTech Society in the website. It's called etsociety.org. And I also want to welcome you all to a conference that is happening next week at IIT Gandhinagar. Every year we do organize a conference called Technology for Education, and where the teachers and the trainers and industry, any organization who are using technology for their teaching, learning, training, so you can come and learn. There are workshops, presentations, keynotes. So please do check out the website etsociety.org/T4E2024, that you can learn more about the EdTech Society and the different activities it's organizing. So I will stay at the end. If you have any more questions regarding EdTech Society, so please you can ask questions or you can send an email as well. Wonderful. Um, okay, so today's the learning objective is to define servant leaderships and its core principles, and apply servant leadership behaviors in project team management, and describe the challenges of demonstrating servant leadership in the behaviors in the age of AI. So this is not the scope of this talk. It's not about any research presentations, like doing a lot of research on applying the servant leadership theory in a one context. No, it's just a general understanding, starting a conversation. Some of the examples that I shared from my own personal managing the team, and how we can demonstrate a good servant leadership behaviors in the time of the AI. It's very prominent. The technology, we can say it's kind of a technology. Whenever there is a technology comes in, how do we share these leadership qualities? So that sometimes it can be a challenge as well. Great. So let's move on. So the key concepts that we will cover, as I already told you, the project team management versus leadership, because the topic is servant leadership. And my son was jokingly talking about that. It's not, leading the servants. Okay. I know in we have we do have servants, and but it's not about leading the servant. It's about much more than just simply taking that term as leading the servants. Okay, we will explore those topic concepts little more here. And so those who are in the PM uh, project management all are familiar with our project management body of knowledge guide. So all these concepts are aligned with the PIMPOC 7th edition. And also you can see that in the table of content, it comes under the team performance domain. Okay, so how do you improve the team performance, and in that one, how do you do the project team management and leadership? Actually, the concept of servant leadership in the PIMPOC, it comes under the project team management and the leadership. So so the concept that we are discussing, sharing, are linked, but I do share some other parts of the servant leadership theory and as well. But we will focus more on within our body of knowledge as well. Okay. Okay. So before I start, those who have their mobile phone, I just want to know where you are, and so just open your mobile phone or open a new tab, search Socrative student login, and so then you will be able to see a room name. So there you enter ID 23. Okay, so we are going to do a kind of a feedback, or a starting session. So just to open your mobile device, open a browser and search Socrative student login, click student login, then enter room name ID 23. Okay, I can see. So I think okay, so I will wait. Can you those who are, does anyone have any difficulty? Just to go ahead and join, search Socrative, open a browser, Socrative student login, then enter the room name ID 23. Okay, so let me see. Okay, only 15 of you. I think we have around 40 members. So just to go ahead and enter that one, Socrative student login, then enter the ID 23. Okay, I think I see 21 of you answered. 21, 22 of, or okay, so let me, if I get another two more, then I will show the result. Okay. Okay, so let me see. So this is the result. Okay, so most of you say that this topic is okay. 23 out of 23, 21 answered. The topic is completely new. I have basic understanding of the topic, but still need support. I have a fair grasp. Okay, good, good. Okay, so I think 30, 50, more than 50%. Then there is a 28% they have a basic idea. Okay, very good. Wonderful. So let me add another question about this one. Okay. Okay. 60. Okay, good. And so the next, okay, still some of you are joining. Okay. So the next question, how do you describe servant leadership? Can you list one behavior of a servant leader? Okay. So if you can just write, those who are familiar with the servant leadership, you can just write a word about how do you describe servant leadership, and maybe one behavior of a servant leader. So those who are just joined, you can look into the Socrative student login and enter the ID 23 ID 23, so you can join. So let me see how many of you have answered this question. Okay, 15 of 35 answers. So I will wait. Maybe let's get around 25 answers. So then I will try to show some of the answers. Okay, 18. Okay, good. Okay, so before I show the answer, can someone unmute and okay, let me just show the answers first. Okay, so this servant leadership, it's working with the team, volunteering, okay, working with the team to enable them to work independently and in collaborative manner, empathy, leadership which is very humble, okay, support the to the team, motivating the team, serve others, protect team, enabling and protect team decisions, enable team, serving client, leading team, lead by example, keep ego aside. It's kind of a behavior. Okay, very good, very good, very good. Enabling, addressing the bottlenecks and hurdles of smooth execution. Seva society facilitator. Okay, wonderful. Trusting your team. Very good. Wonderful. So, Aparna, I don't know if the participants can they unmute and talk for a minute. Can you, if someone wants to talk, is it possible?
I'm not sure. Maybe someone can try.
Okay, so can you, any one of you, any volunteer, can you just unmute and just briefly talk about your description of servant leadership that you wrote? Is it possible? No, probably no. I think okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I think it's not, the control is not with them.
With them. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so I think and thank you for collaborator, facilitated, trusting your team. See, sometimes when we have, especially these abstract concepts, sometimes our own descriptions and sometimes these concepts are not that much concrete, and then it depends upon the situations we will give more descriptions. So today's session we will also based on the body of the knowledge from the experts, that will be little explaining that much little more, so little more, so that will help us more understanding. Okay, so let's move on to the second part. The story behind the servant leadership. Okay, there is a story, wonderful story about servant leadership. Actually, it's the story. It's coming from a novel written by Hermann Hesse, Journey to the East. Okay, there is a novel, Journey to the East. In that one, there is a person, a character named Leo. Leo is a servant, a humble servant, joined a group of, a group was going for an expedition, and Leo joined the team, accompanying a servant, very menial task while uplifting the group. Like whenever he's doing washing the dishes or taking the stuff, he always had a smile. He lifted and encouraged, had a song spirit. So the journey was very enjoyable, and the people were very happy. They were moving forward. But suddenly, Leo disappeared, vanishes from the journey. Okay. Then his absence led to chaos and disunity. Eventually, this group of, the team had to abandon their expedition. Then the narrator continues. So, after several years wandering, the narrator finds Leo, and then he discovered that Leo was indeed the titular head of the order who sponsored the journey, this expedition. So the leader, the head, joined as a servant to help the team to move forward with their objective. And that is shows the humility, wisdom, and strength of the leader. So the servant leadership theory was first introduced by Robert Greenleaf. He was an AT&T executive. So he introduced this concept of servant leadership, and actually he was influenced by the character Leo in the novel Journey to East. So when in 1977 Greenleaf wrote an article about servant leadership, a journey to the nature and legitimate power and greatness. So in this book, in this articles, he talks about um, the Leo, how the Leo as a servant influenced, encouraged the team, while at the same time he was the head of the team. So that is the story behind the servant leadership. Okay. So let's move on. So now we will get into the major concept. I thought I will just to share the story behind the servant leadership before we get into the major concepts that we will be discussing. So project team. So let me give one example. So we all manage teams, right? Nowadays, everything it's a team, right? I sometimes say it's the we have changed from the industrial age to the information age, where we work in the team. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, let's say if a surgeon wants to make a decision, we go to a hospital, then as usually the surgeon makes the decision, right? And the same things with our teaching and learning also. Usually 10, 15 years ago, we will go to a college or a school. The professor is the main source of information. There will be a textbook, then whatever the professor is talking, and the students will write down the notes, then they will refer the textbook. So that was the part. The decision was very autonomous, very one person centered. But now when I am talking about the topic of servant leadership, you might have googled it, what is servant leadership. You can find lot of videos, YouTube videos on servant leadership. Sometimes you can correct me if I am anything wrong that I am talking. You can say, Briju, there was an article published last week on servant leadership. Did you see that? It's there in this journal. Sometimes I, as an expert or a instructor, might miss some of the information, but you as a participants, learners, um, know much better. So why? Because we are in the information age, so we are working in a project team. So the information age characteristics, so even though the AI, it's kind of coming now much more increasingly in our day-to-day activities, but the technology itself, the information technology itself, it has a big impact in our project day-to-day management. Okay, so let's come back to the concept of the project team. So let me give an example of Jodi as a project manager. So she's doing a project on mobile app development. Okay, so she's managing a team to develop a mobile app. The project name it's Fitness Tracker app. So they are developing a fitness tracker app. So the timeline, it's 6 months, different features, activity logging, goal setting, social sharing, personalized. So these are the some of the features of this project. And Jodi is the project manager. So then what is a project team? So according to our PMBOK, a set of individuals performing the work of the project to achieve its objective. So as you know, a set of individuals performing to work the project to achieve its objective. So that is the definition of the project team. And so as a project manager, let's say in this example, when Jyoti is working, she has a developer, Rahul, and the quality assurance, Emily, and the user experience, Salim, a designer. So these are the three members in her team, and Jyoti is the project manager. So in the traditional leadership, as you know, you can see Jyoti is the higher level, and then all the others are the team members at the bottom. That you can see that. And today we are also not going to discuss too much about different leadership styles and stuff. We don't have time to discuss that aspect as well. So now Jyoti has a project team developing this project about fitness tracker app. So she has to make a decision. So what are the management and the leadership activities she has to have to effectively implement to achieve the project objective? So we will just briefly look into that one. um, so let me stop here, and can you put a chat in what are your thoughts about what is leadership and what are the management activities? Oh, sorry. um, Aparna, did you see my presentation? What was the presentation you were seeing? Hello, can you hear?
Oh, yeah.
So did you see my presentation, or were you seeing the Socrates one?
On the previous slide?
Uh-huh. So you were seeing this my slides, right? Or the
Yeah, currently it is showing that now Jyoti has a project team.
so did you see the previous ones, like when I started this one project team?
Yes, yes.
You saw that. Okay, okay. I thought I was okay. So you saw these slides, right? Did you saw these slides before when I was talking? Okay. Okay. So let me stop here. And so how do you describe what are the management activities, and how do you describe the different management and leadership activities? Can someone put a chat? I think probably you can give a chat. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought I was sharing the presentation slide. Oh, sorry. I think you haven't seen my previous slide, right? Okay. So I think maybe I can just quickly go. Uh, oh, sorry. You haven't seen this image? Have you seen? Oh, okay. Okay. I think, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. I think seems like, I was sharing the Socrates one you were show.
No. The slides are there. Yeah, the
S- s-
slides are there.
Slides were there. Okay. I saw this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I see that some of you saying that leadership is supportive, management is directive. Okay. Then now we see. Okay. That's good. Oh, you did not see this image earlier. Okay, I think that's, yeah, I think, yeah, I think, yeah, I think okay, so I think let me see some of your thoughts. Okay, management has long-term impact. Okay, management is one-way communication, leadership is two-way communication. Okay, what about leadership? Leadership is long-term. Okay, very good. Okay. So that's fine. So the management activities primarily focusing on the the meeting project objectives, implementing effective process and planning, coordinating, measuring work, and monitoring. So that is basically meeting the project objectives. But so as you can see that it's usually controlling, monitoring parts comes into the management activities. So then the leadership, it's about more people oriented, influencing team members, motivating the team, listening to team concerns, enabling team concerns. So these all are comes under the leadership activity. So today we are discussing about this leadership, servant leadership, the concept servant leadership. So it comes into the people oriented. Okay. So influencing, motivating, listening, and enabling success. So okay, so let me have a knowledge. As you can see, these are the two different aspect of difference between the management activities and the leadership activities. So management activities focus on meeting project objectives, and leadership activities focus on the people oriented. Okay. Aparna, if in case if I'm not, sometimes I'm looking at the screen and I don't see the main. If it's not coming what I'm talking on the screen, please let me know. Okay. So I think
Okay. Yeah.
that's what
Will do.
happened.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I thought the screen was visible. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so then let's say now here, Jodi, as developing this project, she has to make a decision or she has to do both management activities and the leadership activities, right? So let's have a question on the knowledge check. Which of the following best describe leadership activities? So can you just, if you have in Socrative, you can, the questions will be there. Um, which of the following best describe leadership activities?
Maybe you can chat. Put that login ID again in chat window.
So the login ID, it's go to Socrative, search Socrative, and ID is ID23. Just enter ID23. Okay, so most of you. Okay, so let's see. Stop sharing. Let me see how much share screen. Okay, so I think 4019 show result. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so we have a divide. 45% says influencing team members, and 45 activities on people. B and C. Okay, that's good. B and C. Most of you say B and C. Yeah. Okay. So I think yeah, it's kind of divided now with the 45. So I actually, you know, you are almost right. So I think that the I would say the best answer would be the influencing team members, because focus on people, it's in a broader way, but one of the activity as a servant leader, sorry, as a leadership activity, it's influencing the leader, is the influencing the team members. So the best answer in this case would be influencing team members. Okay, so that's good. So we will come to that another questions later. So uh, let's go back to the slide again. So this time I don't make the mistake. I will make sure I will present the slide. Okay, so now Jyoti is implementing. So let's back to the story. The Jyoti is implementing management and leadership activities about the fitness tracker app, and now she has to make a decision on the management and the leadership style. So there are two types of leadership style, management and the leadership. So one is the centralized and the other one is the distributed. Okay, so in the management and the leadership style kind of campaign, so you can say the manager, as Jyoti is on the top, then all the Rahul, Emily, and the Salim as the the developer, quality assurance tester, and the so all those three, it's kind of accountability is assigned to one individual. But in a distributed one, activities are shared among team members. So there are two types. So Jyoti can make a decision which way she has to go, which management and leadership styles. And in the centralized management and the leadership style, accountability being answerable for an outcome assigned to one individual, such as the project manager or a similar role. Okay, in the centralized accountability. But in the so that is one person is assigned. Then in the distributed, activities are shared among the project management team and the team members responsible for completing the work. So in the project distributed management, the responsibility shared among the members. Someone within the project may serve as the facilitator or enable communication, collaboration, and engagement. So that is the main idea behind the distributed management and leadership. Okay, so let's do a knowledge check now here. And a centralized management leadership style, it's characterized by, okay, I think you will have the question again on the in the Socrative, and if you can go ahead and answer those questions. Let's see. Okay, 40 of. Okay, I think I can see around. Okay, so let me stop share this one, then come back to the. Okay, 14 of you answered. So let's see how many. Okay, I think this was. Okay, focus on sharing decision making among team members. Accountability is assigned to single individual. Focus on empowering team members, 11%. Shared decision making. Okay. So yes, I think in the centralized leadership style, it's more about accountability is assigned to single individual. Okay, so focus on empowering team members, that is the distributed leadership and management style. Okay, so let's go back to the other presentation. So now Jyoti has decided to follow a servant leadership style as part of her project team management. And so activities are shared among team members. So that is one of the key idea behind the distributed leadership style. So in the PMBOK, servant leadership is a style of leadership that focus on understanding and addressing the needs and the development of the project team members. So that is from our own PIMBOK. So in the earlier I was discussing about, you know, here Greenleaf was talking about more about, as you can see, that purpose of servant leadership to serve others and to be what they are capable of becoming. So that is kind of the Greenleaf way of explaining, describing the servant leadership. But our PIMBOK, in that here, it's more about um, more about needs and development of project team members, and in order to enable them highest possible team performance. Okay, so let me stop here. Does anyone have any questions so far that we can, before we go into the another the characteristic, the behaviors of servant uh, leadership behaviors? Does anyone have any questions? No.
No, no questions till now.
So far? Okay, that's good. Okay, so let's go ahead. And I think, okay. Okay, um, so basically the servant leaders developing project team members here in Rahul, Emily, and Salim to their highest potential. And so as you can see in here in the servant leader, that the servant leader is at the bottom, and then they are helping the team members to go up to bring them to the full potential. So that is one of the key characteristics of servant leadership. So these are some of the questions that, as when you as a project manager make decisions, so these are the questions that you can ask. Are the project team members growing as individuals? Do they grow as individuals? Or the project members becoming healthier, wiser, fair, and more autonomous? Are they making the decision? Do you have to go each time and give them the ideas, or do they make the decision very autonomously? And do they become more servant leaders, so then they can become more collaborative in nature? um,
There are two questions, if you
okay.
can take up.
Yes. Okay, is there any connection from the Bible where Jesus washes the feet of his disciple? Okay, so that's one question. Servant leadership may not be for development of team members. Okay, so yes, actually, thank you. That the question is, yes, actually, the servant leadership, the the bigger concept, the concept, it's as you can see, the servant Jesus washing the feet of his disciples. It's one of the example of servant leadership. And even some of the monks, monastery, they were practicing the servant leadership. Yes, there is a connection in the servant leadership. The characteristics are from the Bible. There is a reference, it's coming from there. Mm, okay, so did I answer the question? Yes, the answer is yes. There is a connection with um, the Jesus washing the disciples of Jesus. That is the connections there. Then there is another question: servant leadership may not be for development of team members. Okay, so I think the question is it servant leadership for the development of team members? Yes, the answer is yes. The answer is no. And So the even in the definition of the PMBOK body of knowledge, it says that you need to growth of your team members, it's one of the highest, and also you are lifting up the team into that. Okay, so I think there are other questions. Okay, is it contradictory with the project manager role? See, I think see, that's what we were discussing about the management and the management activities and the leadership activities, right? These two goes together actually, right? So you cannot be only the leadership style, leadership activities, right? Influencing, all those, the people oriented, it's part of the leadership style, but the management is also important. So it's when you do when as a project manager, you have the responsibility is the management and the leadership style actually. Okay, so the monitoring, controlling, planning, resource, all those part of the management activities and the leadership activities. So so the servant leadership activities, when it comes to when you become more a servant leader, uh, um, you are influencing the people, like in the story of Leo. I think I don't in the Leo, he was a servant, right? But at the same time he was the head. He didn't reveal that at the beginning of the story. He was helping the team with the spirit, he was singing, and there was a spirit of joy, and when the team was going together in their journey as the Leo. So but I think in that case he didn't show the management, but at the end he's revealing that, when the manager is out, sorry, the Leo was vanished from the journey, the team kind of didn't function well. So that shows that sometimes as a manager you have the influence, you bring the people together, and move forward, but without being more evident. So I think that is my question. Is it contradict with the project manager? My answer is no. You need both management and the leadership. Okay, so before I jump, any other questions? No. Servant leadership is directive to team, like project manager. Servant leadership is directive to teams like project manager. See, the whole idea is here, it's the project team performance, right? So if you look at the um, let me so it's about the project team performance, right? It's the domain, it comes under the project team performance. So how do you improve the project team performance? That is our goal as a project manager, right? How do we achieve the objective with improving the team performance? So the servant leadership is one of the concept, one of the behavior that you can improve the team performance. I think that might be the good. What is the key uh, driver of servant leaderships over other style? So the key driver would be the, it's up to you making the centralized leadership and management style or a distributed management style. So that will be the key driver between the centralized or a distributed. So do you want to share your responsibility and helping the team to grow um, the team? I can share, when I was in the US, I was an instructional uh, designer, and we had a very huge online program, around 6,000 online students all over the US, um, and so then I had to the course was every 6 weeks, the nursing program, then the TAs, teaching assistants, the instructors, management. So then I had a team, one person, he was an IT support person, Derek. So I was giving him, managing him in that team. So most of the time, I was looking at the big picture, and he was very detailed oriented. So his ability was to check each link before we, when we copy the course from the master course to the child courses. So then he was very meticulous, very detailed oriented. I really saw that ability. So I asked him, I could completely trust him whenever there is kind of a detailed oriented. So sometimes that is the trusting, and mm, develop the confidence, say I can do this. So that, you sometimes you have to trust your team member, and give them more autonomy. You can do it, you take care of the responsibility. So that is one. Okay, see has in my view, servant leadership is more relevant in community project like removal of TB in India, etc. Is it not? Okay. I would agree that one. Thank you. I think I also think sometimes, in a non-profit organization it might be more um, uh, um, uh, more relevant in the servant leadership role. Right now, this tech society that I am serving, I need to manage the program committee members, and different committees, and we all are volunteers in the organization. Myself as an executive director and a volunteer for the organization. So at the same time, we are managing this different teams. So yes, I would agree. It might be more relevant in a non-profit, but at the same time, in regular profit organization as well. I will share some example at the end of the session as well. Some of the examples of servant leaders in this concept. Okay, so I think let's, Aparna, do you want to can we take a break for now? Maybe we'll join at in around 11.
Sure.
One short break.
So we'll take around 5 to 7 minutes breaks, and we'll start the session around 11 again.
Correct.
See you at 11.
Yes, thank you. Okay, I think it's 11 o'clock. We can start. And so we will take that questions about can servant leadership work in competitive environments? Yes, I do believe. So because Project Management Institute included this concept um, in PIMBOK and as the training. So it's work in the competitive environment because it's all depends upon the project team performance, right? As a project manager, how do you increase the project team performance and giving more autonomy and at the same times keeping the balance between the management activities. Okay, so let's move on to the second part, the main session of the sessions now. um, um okay, so um yeah, so as you know, this is one of the sessions where
Uh, yeah, not. Hello.
that are identified in the body of knowledge, project management body of knowledge. So you can see it's in the PIMBOK guide, page 18. So these are the three behaviors that a servant leader can show: the obstacle removal, diversion, shield, and encouragement and development. So we will just look into these three in next slides. So the first one is the obstacle removal. So basically, the obstacle removal means where the servant leader solving problem and removing obstacles that may be hampering the project team's work. um, let's say in this example, like this project, Fitness Tracker is the project with Jyoti is managing as the project manager, and Rahul, Emily, and Salim are working in this project. And then what are the obstacles that comes to hindering the project teamwork? So it's a 6 months projects. They have to finish this within 6 months. And once they are as we know that in the project charter, so then once it started, it's defined, cleared. So sometimes there are obstacles might come, right? So the environment and different things, it happens during the project development process. So as a project manager, your servant leadership characteristics is to remove the obstacles that hinder the project teamwork. So whatever that's happening, it might be sometimes the conflict management or emotional intelligence. There are some other aspects also comes part of this in this aspect as well. So your skills on conflict management, emotional intelligence, all those comes to really help the project to go move forward. So that is the first one. So the second one is the diversion shield. Basically, sometimes you as a project manager, you need to protect your team members as a shield. Sometimes when the project start, let's say if the Rahul is a very good developer, and there are some other projects came, they are also pulling him to some other project. So then your goal is to as a project manager, as a diversion shield, if anything comes, your responsibility to shield the project team members from other external requirements comes, as direct the project team and from its current objective. So that is the second uh, behavior of a servant leader. So the first one is the obstacle removal. The second one is the diversion shield. And as you know that sometimes non-critical or external demands comes during the project, so it's your job as a project manager to help the team move forward as act as a diversion shield. And um, and uh, so I think one example I can give is that many times when you work as a team. When I was working with the Derek example, the IT support person, sometimes the other main IT team also ask, hey, can you help do this project? So then it's you as a project manager, as an instructional designer at that time, it was my responsibility to, okay, it's a very time um, sensitive, so when we need to deliver this course on time, so you will protect the team member, saying, no, this is the time commitments, we need to deliver these things in on time. So you will protect the team member, so you can act as a diversion shield. Okay, so then third one is the encouragement and the development opportunities. uh, Tools and encouragement to keep the project team satisfied and the productive. I think probably in our story of the servant, the Leo, he might have been an encouragement, even though he worked as a servant. uh, he might have encouraged the team members and be more productive during the journey. And here also you can say them motivate the individual and finding ways to reward them for the good work. you know I think most of the organizations now, we do have different volunteer recognitions. Even in the PMI Mumbai chapter, in our conclave, we recognize the members. So that's also recognizing them as a team. We are moving forward and reward them. So that's also a behavior of a servant servant leadership. So that's the shows the servant leadership behavior. And I think now it's very common in all even in our organization at Tech Society. We have the annual day, and we do volunteer the volunteers, we do recognize them on our annual day for their efforts and time, and helping the projects move forward. Okay, so these are the three um, um, uh, behaviors of a servant leader. So, what is the desired outcome of this servant leadership? As I said earlier, one of the main goal is to team performance. Okay, team for performance management. How do we improve the team performance management? That is the shared ownership, high performing team, then applicable leadership, interpersonal skills demonstrated by all team members. So once we can achieve this outcome, like if the team's taking the ownership, it's not only one person, it's all the team members taking the ownership, and the interpersonal skill. And it's more on the affective level. I think the conflict management, how do you interact with yourselves and how do you interact with others? Okay, so that's also very important. I usually travel to different universities, give sessions on the team based learning. And in the team based learning, many times it's not only the content the students are learning, but it's more about how their interpersonal skills are being developed. Okay, um, because in the age of AI, in the technology, we we will be accountable to answer whatever the statements that we make. For example, as I said earlier, when you are a medical doctor, or so when you say a course of action for a particular medicine, so the patients nowadays, they will ask, okay doctor, why did you select this medicine, why, give us explanations. So even the teacher also, when you are a teacher, when you are a faculty or a trainer, the people, the information is available everywhere, right? So that is another major challenge of coming into the technology. But our role, kind of as an instructor, changed from the role of information sharing to information, the facilitator of learning. So you will facilitate the learning. So the shared ownership, even in the teaching, training, any task that you are doing, any project that you are doing, it's always looking into the interpersonal skills demonstrated among the all team members. So that is one of the main outcome of the servant leadership. So let's take a knowledge check on this one. So let's say, as a project manager, you notice a junior team member, Rahul, is hesitant to share his ideas and often interrupted in team meetings. So that's usually happens. And ask, what servant leadership action should you take? So let's say you are the project manager. How do you address this one? So let's take a minute, and I think I can also share that one in the Socrative also, that question, if you are there. Okay, I think that question is not there yet. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so take a minute to think about this question. What would be a good answer? So you can share it in the chat window. Okay, so just take a minute, and so take a moment to answer your in the chat window, if it is B, C, or D, A, B, C. Okay. Oh, everyone is going, so I should have do a simultaneous reporting. That's fine. Okay, so let me ask someone from let's say Nandini Das. Why do you? What are your thought process? Why did you select B as the answer? Can you just? I wish we could unmute and talk, but if you can just briefly share why not? What was your thought process when you selected B as the answer, or why not A or D or C or D? Okay, D. Okay, I get a answer D. So Naveen says that D facilitates Rahul. Okay, so Nandini gave an answer, so that Rahul gets the encouragement to speak when you do the round robin format for equal speaking time. Okay. So there is an options for B and D. So the question, as you can see, uh, uh, so in this servant leadership, this is a scenario, right? So Rahul is a team member, junior team member. Most of the time he's getting interrupted in team meetings. And so what would be the best action that you can take as a servant leader? Okay, Naveen says, I feel that would build confidence in him and encourage him further. So Naveen, did you select D as the answer? Okay, Navin. Okay. Okay, let me get one more. Okay, I feel that. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, the best answer. Okay, so Ankur says C is the best answer. Ankur, can you explain? Can you just make a notes? Why do you think C is the answer? Encourage Rahul to be more assertive after the meeting. Being more assertive is important. Okay, as a junior. Okay, build his confidence and open. Correct. Okay, good, great. Thank you. If you had a B and D is the Sunita says B and D is the best answer. Being more assertive is very difficult. Merlin says being more assertive is very difficult. I wish we had a team. I could have brought you into different teams and discuss. But that's okay. We will maybe do it some other times. So, so the best answer here. Um, okay, so without knowing the views of Rahul, how can we appreciate bees? Everyone will get equal opportunity. Okay, so the best answer here would be, as I said, sometimes based on the context, it might change. Some situations, the answer options will have more weight than the other. But in a general, I would say the D would be most appropriate here, because as a servant leader, let's say Rahul, many times as a junior team member, they won't be they might lack some confidence to talk with the senior team members. So but if you are the project manager, if you want to show as a servant leadership behavior, like the obstacle remover, or you know let him to share his ideas more openly, then I think the D would be more appropriate than B, even though B is a good option. But in this case, D is the best answer here. Facilitate Rahul input and validate his contribution. So that would be a good characteristics or a behavior of a servant leader. And I just want to thank you all for participating in the chat. Okay, so let's move on. So the third part is the challenges of demonstrating servant leadership behaviors in the age of AI. Okay, so before I move, so let me hear from you all. What are the challenges if you want to demonstrate a servant leadership behaviors in AI? Any thoughts or comments? Does anyone have any thoughts or comments? What are the challenges as a servant leader? No? Okay. So one thing, see the we know that, right? The management activities and the leadership activities. So the leadership activities, it's focused more on people, right? So the people, uh, it's it's each human being. It's uh, very unique. Actually, I usually teach uh, the attitude, how to write attitude learning object. How do you teach attitude? Train like a service. If you're in a service industry, how do you let's say if you're a sales professional, you are training how to interact with the customers. So one thing is, if the concrete steps it's not there, sometimes it's very difficult. Even though there are standard procedure, let's say if the customer comes, you greet, say good morning, how are you, but still sometimes, as you might have experienced, some customer will come, they will be very rude with whatever that you tried. they won't be happy. So in that situation, how do you deal with that? So I usually teach them a critical incident method analysis. So especially the attitude, teaching the attitude, how to develop the attitude. So the servant leadership, it's also an attitude in a way that so then it's each individual, each customer, it's different. Even though you have some standard process, like for example the servant leadership behaviors like the diversion shield and encouragement development, many times it's each individual, each team might be different, each individual is different. So because it's dealing with the people, right? So in the AI, it's more like so the one of the main challenge is the balancing technology and human interaction. AI can automate many tasks, but it cannot replace the human touch. That is the central to the servant leadership. So uh, um, so it might be able to send, you can tell the AI, hey, send an encouragement note to my team a Monday every morning. So that it might send an encouragement note or an email to the team every Monday morning. So you can automate those tasks, but the human touch, when you say hello, when you meet individually, and that, it's a challenge. I was when I was doing my um, PhD, we had a seminar on dangers of education on internet. He was a philosopher called Dreyfus, and then he says that sometimes uh, you can teach lot of things with technology, right? Let's say medical students in one room, the other room, and the surgeon is doing the surgery in the other room. The patient is here. You have a very high end camera, all the Dolby sound capturing. The students are learning the other room, watching the surgeon. A famous surgeon is doing a surgery, right? But many times what happens in the technology, the focus, it's usually the who controls the camera, right? The camera person, where his focus, that's only you can see. You will miss the silence in the surgery, in the room. And when the doctor is silent, the nurse, head nurse, or the anesthetist, they will know what is the silent means. But sometimes that we cannot capture in the any high-end technology. So that is one of the challenge even in the servant leadership, because it's more related to the people. And even in our family gathering also, even if we don't talk uh, very much, if still the people are here, the silence has a meaning. So that is kind of the difficulty, the drawbacks of the technology, like the AI technology. Even if we can do lot of automated, very human voice, and nowadays, you can create the avatar and the human voice and all those things, it's there, but still your silence, your presence, um, makes a huge impact. um, it can happen. So here, one of the challenge is the balancing technology and the human interaction. So the second challenge, I know I am seeing a lot of chat here, we will come to that. The second challenge is fostering engagement and motivation. uh, so again, as I said, it's a attitude behavior, like it's knowledge, skills, and attitude, right? So the attitude, it's more the emotional, how you deal with your emotions, how do you deal with yourselves. And many times the emotions are involved in the servant leadership. Recognizing individual contributions and fostering sense of purpose and belonging, that's also very key in the servant leadership. So that's kind of challenge when we come to uh, you know introducing the AI generation. So, okay. So if you want to know more about the character and servant leadership, Larry Spears, he has wrote an article, and so it's an extra. It's not from the PIMBOK. Okay, there are different characteristics: listening, empathy, healing, awareness, persuasion, conceptualization, foresight, stewardship, commitment to growth of people, building community. So all these are the some of the characteristics um, of servant leadership. And okay, I think that is kind of coming to the end of this. I will take some time. So as you know, the project team, always make sure you should know the project management activities and the leadership activities, servant leadership, and the leadership behaviors, demonstrating servant leadership behaviors in the age of AI. And so I'm going to finish, but I will stay here. And there is a tribal wisdom that Nelson Mandela used to come forward. I am behind you. You know, you are standing in front and the side, and you are asking your team members, come forward. I am behind you. So let me stop here, and I know we are a little early, but I will take some questions, and if you have some examples, servant leaders that you are thinking of, you can talk. And is there any other questions that you have? So please share here. And okay, Ajit, the challenge to develop cross-functional skills within the team members. Yes, the that might be a big challenge that we might face. And okay, another one. Ankur says AI cannot resolve conflict, and AI don't have empathy for human. That's very true. But AI may be impartial, whereas servant leader may be partial. That's true. So our human nature, it can. I think that's a very good Shamtak. AI may not touch human aspects of leadership, however, it can assist decision making of human. Very true. Sometimes, when I teach, when I design instructional design, I will always say, you need to know the learner characteristics. If you know the learner much more, and your instruction would be much easier. So that's what I started with the question in the beginning of this session: how familiar are you with the topic servant leadership? And if I know, if let's say if you were in the you say, okay, I can teach this concept to others, I could have stopped the session and gone back. And so knowing the customer, knowing the person, it's very important, in a learning aspect. But I think, Samtak, it's very true. Mm, it might help you to making the decisions if you know, like, your team members much more details. And if there is a way that you can feed that one, then you can um, make good decision. Please answer my question. If your leader is insecure and create conflict, how to tackle that? Okay. um I think that's very I think that's, there are some situational aspect is there, how you it also depends upon the situations. Like sometimes, um, the you can show the vulnerability. Like sometimes, we can show, like, for example, if you don't know, you tell, sorry, I don't know, I will learn, and tell, don't, more ego is. So you can show some vulnerability in leadership. But when you make some critical actions, you need to show the management activities. I told you, so you need to balance both, actually, the management activities and the leadership activities. For the team performance, both is important. And in your question, um I think it might be very situational questions. You need to address in a more like, do they have the training on how to manage conflict management? Do they know how to lead the team? Do they have know the experience of managing the team? So I think that might be a very situational questions if you are a leader. Okay. Any other? Um, okay, toxic boxes. I think that's what I said. Sometimes it depends upon the way that they recruit the team, and if they don't value the team performance, more autocratic leadership, that, or the centralized leadership, that we can say, it can go into that. Any other questions that I missed? Does anyone have
There
any?
is one last one. There is one more. Like, can we describe our political leaders as servant leaders?
If Can we describe our political leaders or servant leaders? um it See, it's the attitude, right? You realize who you are as a leader, and um what you want to help the whole society, or you want to do with your family and your team, or the common service. Many times they do miss, and I don't want to comment any political leaders specifically, because it's a common forum. But I would say Nelson Mandela was a good, and the another example would be a competitive, in the industry. Southwest Airlines former CEO, Herb okay, let me share. Herb was a co-founder of Southwest Airlines, actually. So he was the CEO and the founder. Then what he did when he wanted to take a next leadership CEO, what he did was he promoted one of his assistant. For more than 20 years he was assistant, so he became the CEO of the Southwest Airlines. So because he was saying that instead of bringing an outside CEO to the Southwest, that they don't know the value or the culture of this airline in airline, he said, this person who was with me, he knew everything, and that would be an example. He's a very good example of a servant leader in the showed the servant leadership demonstration. Actually, he says that you want to first to become a servant, then only you can become a leader. Like the in the story that I shared in the beginning, Journey to East. Even though Leo started as a servant, but he was the head, started the journey. So many times, we need to have that vision and the wisdom and the strength, so we can lead our team forward. Okay. So can we say that Mr. Yes, I think probably yes. I think we might be able to. Ratan Tata might be, yes. I think that he might be a very good example from the Indian context as a servant leader. Sometimes they sacrifice themselves, right? Their comfort to yes, I think that would be a good example. Very good example. Ratan Tata would be a good example. But what are the disadvantages of servant leadership? Yes, Nara, yeah. Okay, so what are the disadvantages of servant leadership? And there are some empirical studies on, and there is a research, and some criticism of servant leadership is there. Like sometimes it's more patriarchal way of thinking, and some feminist there are some literature is there, and but in general, the disadvantages would be sometimes it can be, in my own opinion, okay, it's there is no personal research evidence, there is not to show, but it can be sometimes it might be little slow when you make the decisions, and sometimes you might uh, face the difficulty to build the trust and the confidence. Like sometimes when you at the beginning, when you are very showing very servant leadership, what do I say, you are sometimes the subordinate, the teams might misuse your servant leadership characteristics. Okay, so that might be a possible disadvantages of servant leadership. But that how you can overcome is, you build the trust and the confidence. Okay, so when you communicate with them very uh, when you become very, how do I say, servant like that characteristics, but at the same times you need to be very firm, and the management, the monitoring control aspects also should be there. I think I would say the it might be some people might take advantage of your leadership style. Okay. um Okay, so agree with any other question is there a risk of authority delusion in servant leadership style? No, I don't think so. As long as, see, as long as you are very clear about your project objectives, like for example, in the examples that I was giving, hey, our project objective is to finish this fitness tracker app in 5 months, and these are the objectives that we need to do. Once it's the task, the objective, it's very clear, the project objectives is clear, you can monitor and control as the management, but at the same time, to improve the performance of the team, you can use the servant leadership behavior. So you're removing the obstacles, you become a shield for them, you encourage and reward them, so all those comes kind of improve the performance of the team. So that is the key in that one. So I don't think there is an authority kind of removed from. No, it's there, the authority is there, but you use it very um okay. So if you want to connect, I can search, you can search me on LinkedIn, Briju Thangachan. So please connect with me, so I will be happy to share. If you have any questions regarding that one, I'll be we can continue this conversation. Okay, I think is servant leadership situational, switching from authoritative to servant? I would agree. It can become the situation like that. As I said, it's more towards the attitude, right? How you develop the attitude, and so then it can be more situational as well. Yes, I would say yes. And the team, the team, you're managing the team, right? So that, yes, that's good. Maybe one. Good. Okay, great. I know we finished a little early, and so let's follow the tribal wisdom. Come forward. I am behind you um, in the project that we are doing. Help the team members to grow in their full potential. And once again, thank you again for PMI Mumbai chapter for inviting me to give this talk. And thank you all the participants for sharing your participating this with questions and your thoughts. Thank you again.
Thank you, Doctor. I would like to invite Mr. Aman Sabswari to give note of thanks. Mr. Aman is a PMP and ACP certified and around 12 years of experience. He has worked domain-wise. He has worked in IT and supply chain domains. He worked with Infosys, Virgin Money, and currently working as project program manager with Blue Dart DHL. Mr. Aman is chapter member from last 5 years and volunteering with Mumbai chapter from last 4 years at different capacity. Currently as AVP marketing with PMI Mumbai chapter from last years and last 2 years, and he's managing the Prakalp magazine, which Mumbai chapter releases every quarterly. Welcome, Mr. Aman.
Aparna, so much, and Riju, thank you so much for an excellent session. So I'll just sum up your excellent session here. So what you discussed since the beginning, you have demonstrated the characteristics of a servant leadership that are of a critical importance. That which you have discussed with examples were listening, empathy, healing, awareness, persuasion, conceptualization, foresight, stewardship, uh, commitment to the growth of the community, and the building community. So these are the 10 characteristics which I felt you have covered and really helped with examples what servant leadership is all about in this century. More I would like to add is there are 5 elements which you have mentioned, which actually helps in the day-to-day life of our work, where which we have motivation, expectation, mobilization, administration, and then inspiration. So when we say a motivation, which you have said is that understanding employees' motivation helps the manager understand what drives their team members to contribute to the organization. So in that context, your motivation have been expressed. Then there's an expectation which has been set. Is quite simply clearly defining what is needed from each individual in the performance of their assigned role. And here we give control to the person in order to perform and do, not doing micromanagement, just do a macro management of the same, but giving the value what we are doing, and they should realize what we are doing has a value. So then the person is also involved in, and they give wholehearted attention to that work. Then third is administration, which I said. Administration function is perhaps the least liked by the party, actually, but it involves seemingly never-ending paperwork policy and occasionally preposterous political posturing required any enterprise involving more than 2 human beings. But it is necessary. Administration is also there. But to give control to an employee is very much important if you want to get uh, harmony as well as the growth amongst all the members. Fourth, which I said, was mobilization. Mobilization is about the skills and the effective application of those skills to drive the team mission. So, and the last is inspiration. Inspiration is about the future. It suggests that the manager bears some responsibility for helping their directs evaluate how they can potentially contribute to other current and future needs of the organization. So that's how I think your session has been great in order to realize how servant leadership is important. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. It was an
Thank you,
honor.
Doctor, for giving us such an insightful session. And thank you, chapter members, to be there on this Saturday weekend early morning. Okay.
Thank you.
I think we can close this session now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you
Bye.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
So, Aman, thank you. So maybe I will connect with you through the LinkedIn as well.
Definitely, we'll connect. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Bye.
You too. Thank you.